Well, this is video number 2 on my GLP-1 experience. I think I'm going to move that closer. Since I started my GLP-1 experience almost 2 years ago now, I have talked to a lot of people who also decided to take GLP-1, and their experiences are varied. I have people that I've talked to that were successful, that were mediocre, that didn't work at all, different side effects from a lot of different people. And so this is the second video of the three that I'm going to make on my experience with the GLP-1. The first one had to do with my leading up to and my decision to start taking it. This one I'm going to talk about starting to take it, my experiences, my side effects that I went through during that, 7 or 8 months that I was taking it. And then the third video, I'm going to go into maintenance. And that's been one of the toughest parts for many people who have come off GLP-1 is to maintain that weight loss. So once I decided to take Zepbound, and if you can watch my other video, there was a lot of reasons why I went to Zepbound. The minimal side effects, the increased weight loss from the studies that were done, and the availability at the time from Eli Lilly was also a little better. It was a new drug, and I did run into some issues with supply that I'll talk about. One of the biggest detractors from that was the cost. At the time, it was about $1,200 a month for that 4-week, 4-dose injection, which is a lot of money. So once I decided to do it, I was pretty nervous. I didn't know what to expect. I've never given myself shots before. And even though I watched some videos and went on Eli Lilly's website and watched someone else do it on their YouTube video, it was still a little nerve wracking. And so I did end up, I went to my general practitioner, did some blood work. And like I mentioned before, I would recommend anyone that's going to be going on to GLP-1 to get some blood work done so you have a baseline. And then I would recommend going at least once a month to get that redone, just so you kind of see what's going on. And it's kind of fun to see if your health improves. It's kind of fun to see those markers get improved as well. So I think it was mid-April 2024 when I took my first shot. And of course, my first dose was the 0.25 or the 2.5. I think Zepbound listed as 2.5, but anyway, it's 0.25. And again, very, very nervous. Didn't even know where to put the first shot. They recommend either the stomach, the legs, have someone help me with the back of the arms. And so I decided that I was going to go ahead and start in the stomach. So it was very simple, barely felt it. Did have a little welt of blood that comes out, very minimal. And I just took it. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know all of a sudden I was going to have, balloons popping and fireworks going off or anything. But um, it wasn't until the next day where I started to get dry mouth. And that's one of the side effects when you start taking it. So I really started to get some dry mouth. So I bought some dry mouth um, mints or lozenges from Amazon, which really helped. And then a couple of days after that, I really started to feel some of the effects. And it's hard to describe the feeling if you haven't taken it before. It's a very unique feeling. And then when you start to feel full or you don't feel hungry, that was the other thing that kicked in probably about a week after I took my first shot. I just did not even think about food anymore. The food noise disappeared completely. And I found myself kind of shaking my head and saying to myself, um, I need to eat some food. So uh, I'd go kind of force myself to eat. One of the things I did to prep for the GLP-1 is I didn't want to lose any muscle mass or I want to minimize the muscle mass that I would lose. So I loaded up on everything I could get my hands on when it came to protein shakes, protein powders, uh, chicken, ham, turkey, whatever it was. I just loaded up on all sorts of different protein foods, good, bad, or indifferent, didn't care. I didn't do a lot of research on whey versus soy versus plant-based or anything. I just, if it had basically protein was easy to access and eat, I got it. So I was just loaded up with protein. I didn't know anything really about my macros. I didn't study about macros. I didn't know should I balance carbs and fats and proteins. I just knew I was going to eat proteins. And as I talk about what I ate during that, weight loss period, it's kind of funny to think about how probably 80+% of my calories were protein every day. And so I've decided that I should go into my pantry and show you my foods that I eat and how I prepped. It's kind of funny. Some of the stuff I have, it's like I'm a kid, but I'll show you all my protein bars. Again, I'm not compensated with any of this stuff from any companies, but so right now, when it comes to macros and carbs, you can see I eat a lot of Cheerios, very easy. Premier Proteins. They have a cereal. Is it wherever any grocery store has these? Lots of protein. These actually have some pretty good macros. You can see they got sugars and carbs. Again, all good stuff, especially when you're lifting. Don't listen when anybody else tells you you need carbs. I'll talk about that later. So some of the other things I do is graham crackers, marshmallows, um, tortilla chips. Here's my protein bars. I eat David, barbells. Of course, Costco, I live on their pure protein. Actually get some currently. I do perfect amino, creatine, some fiber, AG1, almonds, and then down here, lots of different rice. I got Ben's rice, white rice. From a macro perspective, all this stuff's really good. Z bars. And again, for me, it's just convenience. I know most stuff's not good for me, but um, if I know what I'm eating from a macro perspective, I track it. It really helps me maintain my weight loss. Okay, hard boiled eggs. I eat 4 hard boiled eggs a day, so I'm constantly making hard boiled eggs. Sourdough bread, again, good carbs. I buy the big chunk of roasted turkey from Costco and I cut it up into 4 and 5 ounce pieces. Easy. Sliced ham, good stuff. Um, Hamburgers, rice, and then I have cottage cheese, yogurts, all that wonderful, yummy stuff. So that's just some of the stuff that for ease of use, that I have on hand all the time. There's some other stuff I eat, but it's usually just one offs. That's just the stuff that I eat consistently. So that food noise disappeared. I'd have to remind myself to eat. And when I did eat, it was the most interesting feeling. I've never felt it before because I'm so used to just eating until I'm stuffed. But I would start to eat, and all of a sudden I would just feel full and feel like I just could not take another bite. Almost to the point where if I took another bite, I just wouldn't feel good. Not nauseous so much, but just almost exhausted from too much food. Which is, again, that's the whole point. After the third dose of the 2.5, that food noise kind of started to get reduced. So I thought that was, I started to panic and think, oh no, I, it's not working. But my body it came used to it so quickly that I needed to bump up to the 5.0 or the point 0.5. So luckily, my general practitioner was awesome. She worked with me really well. She wrote the prescription for the 5, and I got that and started taking that. And that food noise reduction and the fulfilling just continued. It was awesome. One of the things that occurred pretty quickly and kind of went through the entire time I was taking it was constipation. Oh my gosh, I was constipated. I had to take laxative almost every day, which is not good for you, but my stomach would hurt so bad because just could not go to the bathroom. I drank tons of liquid to try to minimize that. I started taking Metamucil, um, other types of probiotics to try to assist that, but it seemed like nothing worked until I started taking some laxatives that I bought, I think at Walmart. So that just continued. My weight loss was just very consistent. I was losing, oh gosh, 3 to 5 pounds a week just consistently, but I was only eating probably 1,300 to 1,800 calories a day. And that was forcing myself to eat. I'd wake up in the morning, I probably wouldn't, I'd have a protein shake. Um, and then later on have a couple of protein bars, maybe some ham, sliced ham, um, some more protein bars and protein drinks in the evening, and that was my diet most of the time. So things were going great. I decided to continue to bump up, went to the 7.5 with the Zepbound, and that's when I started running into supply issues. You probably won't run into this yourself if you decide to do this nowadays, but it was there was no 7.5. I could not get it. So I had to do the 5.0, I think, for another month. And then I was able to get the 7.5, but that was very difficult to get. I had to bounce around, get multiple pharmacies involved, and finally was able to get it as my transferred my prescription around different carriers. And then it was again, I would get really bad stomach aches, just constipated. And then about it was the end of September 2025, so I've been on it 5 months. As I It was the evening time, my stomach really just started to hurt. I mean, it was just painful. And I didn't know if I was hungry or constipated, but then it got so painful that I was doubling over and I couldn't breathe. And the pain was so sharp. And I knew that something was wrong. But of course, being a guy, I was like, I just got gas or something. So I just tried not to think about it, but it was so overwhelming, so painful that finally about 9 o'clock at night, I couldn't take it. And I asked my wife to take me to the emergency room. Went down there, they did some scans, and I developed ileus, which is where your upper intestine goes to sleep, and your food stops digesting through your intestines, which is extremely dangerous. And if it doesn't wake up, they actually have to go and do surgery, remove your intestine, that portion of your intestine that's gone to sleep, so that you can start to digest your food. It can be fatal if you don't get it taken care of quickly. I was lucky enough, the emergency room doctor said, hey, go home, give it 24 hours, come back if it doesn't change, and we have to do surgery. So that's what I did. And luckily, it woke up. And that was the only time I had ileus. So it did kind of scare me straight. So that was that experience. It was around October where I finally hit my goal weight. I wanted to get down to 185 pounds, down from when I started, I was about 258, 260, somewhere in there. Um, so I felt really good about that. In addition to consuming all the protein I could and making it the bulk of my diet, I also knew that I wanted to have resistance training, weight training as part of my routine to help me with my weight loss, maintain my muscle, because I wanted to lose the fat and not the muscles so I didn't get Ozempic face. And I'll have to attach some pictures of the process, befores, afters. And also, I need to put a picture up of way back when I was 275 or something like that, just so I can show you the comparison. So I started my workout routine and I became pretty obsessed. I uh, I have a home gym, which is makes it real nice. But I developed a workout routine and I stuck to it. Was working out every single day, and that kept me focused, kept me goal oriented to be able to lose the weight. And the amount of weightlifting I was doing was uh, probably pretty extreme for my age. But again, I thought it was worth it to be able to reach my goal. So that's what I did. And I dropped off quite a bit. In fact, another time I'll make another video of what my workouts are, what my different exercises are, my workout routine, my splits, all that good stuff. I'm in great shape. Again, I lift um, 6 times a week now with a good split. And so I'll do another video kind of talking about what I do there. It's been incredible. So anybody that's over 50, like I am, um, it might be helpful to see what I've done and what I continue to do and the focus that I have on making sure I maintain muscle and actually grow muscle. That's the quick overview of my lead into taking Zepbound, how I prepped for it food wise, which there was little prep and just protein based. What I did to exercise to ensure that I maintained my muscle mass and lost more fat than muscle, um, which included walking every day, exercising every day as far as weightlifting. And I also did weighted vest walks, rucking, which was extremely helpful. Still do that, probably only twice a week now, though. And then ensuring that I was very disciplined on my daily routines, on how I exercised, what I ate, reaching up to that goal weight. So my lowest weight was 179, and that was a little too skinny for me. So as of this morning, I'm 191. Again, a lot of resistance training, a lot of muscle build with that. That's my experience. Some of my side effects with the constipation, with the ileus, those are the two worst ones. But luckily, I didn't have any gallbladder issues or any of that, which does occur from time to time. And I went off of Ozempic, the weekly dose. I didn't go off until probably October of 2025, which this is last year. And I'll talk about that in the next video. But mentally reaching a point where I didn't want it to have the Zepbound as a security blanket, that was one of the hardest parts because, um, like I mentioned in a previous video, I did I was fearful that if I didn't take it, I was going to gain all my weight back in a week. I mean, that's literally how my brain thought. I was just always in a panic. If I didn't have it, that I would go right back to where I was. And that's not a good place mentally. So I still wasn't in a place where I was able to be in control of everything. My previous self was kind of in control, and psychologically that was powerful. And And then what I also want to talk about from a dieting perspective, and I say diet because it's what you're consuming. I I literally track my carbohydrates, my fats, and my proteins every single day, and I will change the app and what I need to consume every day based on what I weigh every day as well. So if I'm a little heavy for a day, I might lower my carbohydrates and fats, raise my proteins. And if I'm a little light and I have a heavy lift day, I might increase my carbohydrates, lower my fats, but I try to maintain my proteins consistently. So I don't think there's anything more to discuss on the lead-in to the taking the Zepbound and my experience with that. So if you have any questions about this video, just put a comment. I'll answer all the comments. I don't have a lot of views, and so I'll be able to do that no problem. But I look forward to doing the next video, because one of the things I want to talk about is people who don't succeed with GLP-1s. I've talked to a lot of people that didn't succeed, and it seems as if there's always the same reason. It's crazy that people will take the GLP-1 and not change their eating habits at all. Um, it's almost as if they take it and just think, oh, I'm just going to continue to do what I do and my weight will just fall off.